blew up a gearbox in one of my vintage race cars here a few months ago, and been sort of waiting to take it apart to diagnose the carnage, and I thought I'd make a video, and here it is. So for those of you that don't recognize what this gearbox is, it's a rib case gearbox, what's known as a rib case gearbox, out of a 70s era British car. And a while back I had converted it to a straight cut close ratio racing box. So when it blew up, since I had done the work on it myself, I pretty much knew what had happened. When I built the box, I had to compromise. I remember this gearbox, and I was not able to, at the time, get a very specific part that I wanted or needed to replace. And so I had to sort of compromise and get a part from a supplier that all you British guys out there know well. We'll get to that here later in the video. I'll actually show you the parts and what not to use and where to get the right part. But anyway, I had run out of time and needed the gearbox, so I compromised, and I'm paying for it. Literally paying for it, because the part failed and it pretty much destroyed the box, as you will see right here. Oh, look at all the good stuff shaking out of there. Oh, yummy. So what you see here, the prize in the Cracker Jack box, is parts of a gears, and you're going to see some needle bearings, and there's even a broken thrust washer. I'll show you here momentarily in my hand, and it's just oh so yummy. So here you go. Here's the prize that you get when you compromise. Lots of good crunchy stuff. So for those of you that aren't familiar with these gearboxes, oh, by the way, there's a lot more carnage. I'm going to show you here in a minute the final results of all the carnage. But we've got to get the main gear set out. But for those of you that aren't familiar with these gearboxes, I've taken off the first thing I took off was what's called the remote control. It's where the gear shift lever fits in, and then the next thing I took off was the tail shaft housing, and now we're working on removing the shift levers. You got to get all these little detent balls out, disconnect the rods and all that, and it fought us a bit because everything's a bit jammed up in there. This box was probably, I'd say, 90% destroyed. The case is destroyed. Basically the entire gear set's destroyed, and I've got to get everything kind of loose. You'll see me get a bit rough with it here in a minute because it's kind of jammed up, and there was so much material floating around. We're not even going to be able to salvage the bearings out of it. I just wouldn't trust them. So here, as I work through this process, I did want to let you know that I do build quite a few of these gearboxes for our own use. We're supporting 5 cars, and so they need refreshing and rebuilding from time to time. We don't really damage one like this, and so I can assure you I'll never make this compromise again, because this was a costly mistake. And I was worried about it because I know this is a weak link in these gearboxes, and I've had other people blow up, friends of ours, blow up gearboxes with this same problem, and I thought I could get away with it if I treated it nice, but no. Some of the parts you get these days from some suppliers, if you just don't know the origins, you're just making a compromise. And so, particularly on race cars, we try to use the best things. Now, I'm quite confident that the part that I used would be fine for a street car, but not for this. You see the gear set's pretty jammed up in there. I'm trying to pull it out. I gotta get one more shift rod. There it is, the reverse shift rod, and Now it's out. There's the reverse gear, and here's the main shaft coming out with the main gear set on it. And they're all intact, but there's a bunch of chips out of the teeth where a bunch of metal went through there. And here we go. Here's the lovely piece that decided to not work for us. It's the lay shaft, the lay gear shaft. And you'll notice, I'm going to get the other pieces out here in just a minute, but they're actually jammed up in there against the first motion shaft, so we have to take the front cover off and then get the first motion shaft, basically the input shaft here. We've got to get it out of the way so that I can get the lay shaft, or what's left of the lay shaft and the lay gear, out of the gearbox, and then we'll finish up this video. We're almost done. But basically the lay shaft failed, and you'll notice here in a minute when we finally break this loose, we've got to get the circlip out of there that releases this bearing, and the bearing was not even tight in the housing. It just sort of falls out, which I've seen that before, so long as it's properly spaced and everything, and you're not going to have a problem with that. But there it is. There goes the input shaft, the first motion shaft as it's called, and here comes all the goodies out of here. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, isn't that just lovely? That's a $400 piece right there, and here's the culprit. It's basically a broken lay shaft, and you'll see it broke right at the oiling hole, which for street cars that go long distances, I suspect you need an oiling hole. But like you'll see, look at the lay shaft there, it's broken right at the oiling hole at the weak point. So let's talk about that shaft. Here's just a diagram out of our good friends Moss Motors, good old number 51 in the gearbox section. And I would say that what we did was I had to compromise. I bought the premium hardened one. They have two, but this is the premium hardened one for about $60. And I would just say it's not for racing. If you're going to go racing, do what we do in all of our gearboxes when we can get the parts, is buy them from Peter May. They've been doing this for years, and their lay shaft is about the same price, but just built a lot better, and it won't break on you like that. So I want to say good night. That's the end of it. Don't forget to subscribe.